Peace, everyone. Welcome to Food Heaven Made Easy with Wendy and Jess.
And I'm Jess, and this is Wendy, and we are both nutritionists, and we're finishing up our master's in nutrition. Together, we've done hundreds of cooking demonstrations and nutrition workshops all throughout New York City, and we're here to bring healthy cooking to your kitchen.
So a little of why we're doing this show. We feel like in our communities, underserved communities, there's a lack of resources when it comes to healthy foods, nutrition education, and so we're using this show as an outlet to provide our community with education that is culturally relevant, that they can incorporate into their homes to prepare meals that are healthier for them.
So today we have a really exciting show. We're going to be focusing on soul food, and we're going to remix the soul food into healthy dishes. Just a little bit of history about soul food. It actually got its name about the 1960s, but it started way before then. It originated in Africa. And actually, if you look at West Africa, things like okra and rice were very popular dishes, which are popular in soul food as well. And so they came to America through the slave trade. And one of the significant things about soul food is that a lot of the dishes that we make are things that were left over on the plantation. So it's things like ham hocks, chitlins, pig feet, and also different kinds of vegetables like collard greens, kale, and things like that. So it's kind of the leftover foods, and we're making do with that. I'm going to be making a sweet potato mash, which will be dressed in garlic, cilantro, and lime. It's going to be really yummy. It's a spin on mashed potatoes. And I'm going to be making a mac and cheese, but instead of being really heavy on the cheese, we're going to use butternut squash, which is a vegetable, and it's really healthy for you, high in vitamin A. So that's going to be a really yummy take on mac and cheese.
And I'll be making collards, an essential component of soul food, except we'll be taking out the very, very unhealthy ham hocks. And I'll be also doing jerk tofu inspired from jerk chicken, inspired from Jamaica. So stay tuned, it's gonna be really delicious.
So now we're gonna break down everything we're making. Like I said, I'm making the sweet potato mash. I'm gonna use about 4 sweet potatoes. And then I'm gonna blend up about half a cup of cilantro, some cloves of garlic, and about the juice of 1 lime. I'm also going to add some herbs and spices and a little bit of almond milk. And next I'm going to make the mac and cheese, and like I said, we're using butternut squash instead of a lot of cheese. So you're going to use 1 small butternut squash, cut it up, boil it. Then we're going to use just a little bit of cheese just to give it that like crispiness on the top. So about 1 cup of any kind of cheese that you have at home, any kind of cheese you like. We're using whole wheat pasta. These are elbows, but you can use macaroni pasta if you have that and you like that. And why whole wheat? Well, actually this pasta has about 9 grams of protein and 6 grams of fiber per serving, which beats white pasta by a long shot. And we're going to add some garlic to that because garlic makes everything taste way better. And we're gonna top it off with some whole wheat breadcrumbs to give it more crunch.
And here I have my beautiful collards, which, as I told you, I'll be making collard greens. I'm going to be adding some chopped red peppers, which I have here, which are always great in vitamin A. And I forgot to mention, the collards are actually really, really rich in vitamin A. They have 308% in just 1 cup of collards. Look at just this little handful right here has 308% of your vitamin A. So if you're blind like me, you can really, really use that in your life. And I'm going to be using garlic, tomatoes, all of this beautiful stuff. And here I have my tofu, which for those of you that don't know much about tofu, it can sometimes be a mystery food. It's a vegetable protein. It's made from soybeans, and depending on how you make it, you can go for different things. In this instance, I'm gonna be trying to recreate kind of like a jerk chicken kind of thing, and I'm gonna be making the marinade, the jerk marinade, which I'll be using red pepper flakes. I'll be using honey Yummy, which is packed with antioxidants. And actually, I just watched this documentary and it talks about the importance of bees and how much we need them. And I'm going to use my limes and my green peppers and all that good stuff. And ginger, which is great right now because it's really, really cold. And so it's great for the winter season.
When cooking, you always want to start with what's going to take the most amount of time. So since the mac and cheese is something I'm baking, I'm going to start with that. Alright, so like I said, we're using 1 butternut squash, and you could do like a small, medium, whatever you find in the grocery store. And these are kind of tricky to cut, so I like to cut the parts that are both like uniform, so the long part from the small part, the stump, I guess. And the stump is what has the seeds, so keep that in mind. And so then you just cut off the top. And if you have a grater, or a peeler, that's even easier, and you could just peel it off. I don't know what happened to my peeler, so I actually just used the knife and went down. And you can also eat the skin. I know it sounds like gross, but when you cook it, roast it or boil it, the skin actually gets soft. But this time we're not going to use the skin, we're going to take it off. So we just do like so all the way around, and then you're going to go ahead and put it on the base and just kind of cut a sliver down like that. And then, oops, take this and cut it into cubes, like so. And then just go ahead and chop like this. Without a good knife, it's really hard, so I recommend going and getting a good knife. You can get some at your department store for $20. It's pretty simple. Everything is chopped up, and to make this more fun, I actually pre-boiled everything so you don't have to sit around and wait for that. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in the blender. You could also use a food processor if you have that at home, but mine broke, so I didn't use that. Blender works just fine. I'm going to go ahead and add my cup of almond milk. Like I said before, almond milk is a really good alternative to regular cow's milk. It's dairy-free and only has about 60 calories per serving. It's low in sugar, 7 grams of sugar, and it tastes really thick and creamy like regular milk. Have you had almond milk before?
Yeah, I have almond milk all the time. I'm just looking at prepare the blender. You want to make sure that you tightly adjust the blender. Last time we did this, I had guacamole all over my face.
Yeah,
so
it was a hazard.
You want to make sure that you seal it tight because you don't want the food splashing all over you, which is something that's happened to me a few times. Maybe I'm just not good with a blender.
Alright, so I just added 3 cloves of garlic, which I had chopped up before. You don't have to chop them as small as I did. And so I'm going to go ahead and blend this away. Now I'm going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Okay, so add that up in there. And I'm going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of oregano. You can use fresh oregano or dried oregano or Italian seasoning, whatever you have. I think I just ran out of my Italian seasoning. And then I'm going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of chili powder, which makes everything pretty and good. Yes, oh, wrong top. Alright, so then we're going to go ahead and just mix this a little bit more. And here we have our pan, $1.99 or 99 cents.
Holler!
Well, you brought this one from home because I didn't have one. And these are reusable. You don't have to reuse them, but you can save money by reusing them. And again, to save time, we pre-boiled our pasta. So we used 3 cups of pasta that was dry, and it makes all this. So we're going to go ahead and add that in there.
I'll help you out. Looks like this is elbow pasta, so the pasta that you usually make the mac and cheese with. It's
right.
Perfect.
So then we're going to go ahead and dump the butternut squash mix. Thank you.
There you go.
amazing. And it's really healthy for you. This also has about 450, the butternut squash, 450 percent of your daily recommended value of vitamin A per serving, and also has vitamin C.
And so in preparing all of these soul food dishes, the great thing is that it also represents a blend of cultures. With soul food, when Africans came here, they incorporated different elements also from indigenous American culture. And so you have something like corn, which is culturally based here in the Americas, and our ancestors made something like cornbread. And so you have like all these different aspects that represent a blend of all the beauty that comes with soul food. It doesn't always have to be this unhealthy thing. It's a blend of cultures, and as you can see here, this delicious meal can be very, very healthy.
So this pan may be a little big, but it's okay because it'll just cook faster that way because it'll be more spread out. But yeah, I'm still just mixing everything together. It's already looking really good. Okay, and we're still gonna add a little bit of cheese up in there just to give it that, you know, traditional mac and cheese feel and a little bit of crunch. So this is about 1 cup of cheese. Low fat is good, but since we're not using so much, like you could just use regular. And, you know, you could use whatever kind you have at home that you like.
And you want to try to aim for organic cheese, aka cows that haven't been injected with hormones, just because they're linked with all different types of scary cancers. So you want to try to go for organic if you are going to use dairy.
And now I'm just adding some black pepper. So just, you know, add about half a teaspoon. And do you have the salt? Oh, there it is. We're gonna add a little bit of salt. Here it is. You always want to measure it out in your hand first, because this is what we don't want to add too much of. Because why? We don't want high blood pressure, which leads to pretty much every disease you can think of. All right, so very scary. So I'm just going to kind of mix that a little bit. A little bit more. This is such a healthier version of mac and cheese. Okay. And we're going to add about 3/4 cup of whole wheat breadcrumbs on top to give it that crunch.
Love it.
I know, me too.
I really look forward to eating this.
You'll be in. Okay, no, not all, because we do things in moderation here. That's the point of the show.
Right. Yeah, sometimes by the end of the show we have no food left because we usually eat everything as we're making it.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to not do that this time.
No, we're not doing that. Okay, and here I have some fresh oregano. You could put any fresh herb you have just to give it a little bit of color and give it that freshness. Herbs are really great for you. A lot of them have antioxidants in them. You could also use cilantro, basil. Since we're using oregano for another dish, that's why we're using it for this, just to save money, but you could do whatever you have. Okay, and so now we're going to go ahead and put this in the oven at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes until the top layer is pretty crispy. What are you working on, Wendy?
So I started the tofu. As I mentioned before, I have it wrapped in some paper, and that's to drain it out. Tofu is usually bathed in water, and so when you take it out, you want to make sure that you pat it down. Usually I'll put like a heavy pot on it with some tissue, and I'll just weigh it on, and it'll squeeze all the water out. So I pressed it for about an hour just to get the water out, and what that does is it allows whatever you're cooking it in to kind of penetrate it more. So it's just better for soaking when all the water is dried out. And so tofu can be a mystery food. I've had a lot of reactions when I've made tofu. My mom doesn't really get what it is yet. But it's really good, and you can fool some people. One day I told her, I made like scrambled tofu, and I told her that they were eggs, and she ate them. She was like, these are so good. And I was like, yeah, that was tofu. And she didn't even know. So depending on how you make it, you can really get it to be really good and convince some carnivores out there. It's traditionally from Asia, so you'll find a lot of Asian cuisines. It's really, really healthy. It has lots of protein, vegetable protein, so it's really good. And as you can see, I cut the cube in half, and then I cut it into triangles just like this. Okay, and that's it. And so now I have 8 pieces of triangles, which is good to go. I'm just gonna make the marinade now for the jerk, because as we said before, I'm making jerk tofu. So with the marinade, I'm really excited because it's a blend of so many rich flavors, and so we're gonna use a lot of spices, we're gonna use a lot of herbs, and just yummy vegetables. So here we have our blender. First, we're gonna throw some jalapeno in there, and just so you know, with jalapeno, you wanna make sure you take out the seeds. I didn't know this before, and I was cutting jalapenos, actually doing nutrition workshops when we used to work together, and all my fingers were burning. I literally couldn't touch anything for 2 days because I was just soaking my fingers all day in jalapeno seeds, and I had no idea. And so you want to make sure you take out the seeds because they will burn your fingers off. And so these are 2 cut up jalapenos. Seeds are out. Gonna throw them in there. Beautiful. Half of my onion. As you can see, we pre-chopped everything. We want to make this as easy as possible for you. If you don't know how to chop an onion, maybe you want to go on YouTube and look that up. Hopefully you do. So that's about half of an onion. And I have some ginger here, which is great, like I said, for the winter season. It's about 2 tablespoons of chopped ginger. Yummy. I already chopped that for you because I love you. Put that in there.
One other thing, sorry. She said ginger is good for winter season. It is, and you can actually make your own ginger tea, which I'm sure you made too. You just boil the ginger, and you have your cup of hot water. You put a piece of ginger in there. You can add like honey and whatever else, lemon. It's good.
Yeah, and so this is the honey. The documentary that I was talking about, the title, actually, if you want to look it up, it's called Vanishing of the Beets. Have you heard about this? Just like
on your Facebook.
It's really scary. It kind of impacted me in a really strong way. Yeah, we're killing our bees, and so they aren't able to pollinate like our fruits and our vegetables and all of our plant life. And so they're projecting that in like 10 years, we're not gonna have any fruits or vegetables in the United States. We're gonna have to export everything because our bees are all dying. So yeah, just some reality for you. You might want to look that up, see what you can do about it. So I put 2 tablespoons of honey in there. And let me see, what is next? Some garlic, 3 cloves. Gonna put it in there. Yummy. We have some cayenne. A teaspoon. Don't go crazy on the cayenne because it's another burner.
Yeah, I was actually cooking for my family, like vegan dishes, because they were like, oh, we can't have healthy food, it's too expensive or it doesn't taste good. And I made potatoes, and I told my mom to bring cumin and another herb I forget, and she accidentally brought cayenne, but I thought it was cumin, so I put like a lot of it, like 2 tablespoons, and we couldn't eat it. It was beans, I think. It was just too.
You gotta be careful. And so we're gonna put a teaspoon of the cayenne. Right now I'm putting a teaspoon of nutmeg, and I also put a teaspoon of cloves. Okay, so you're just gonna put that in there. I mean ginger, actually. The cloves are not in this dish at all. I put a teaspoon of cinnamon. So that's that. I'm also gonna put some soy sauce. This is low sodium. Soy sauce can be very unhealthy if you get the one that's like 100% sodium per serving, but this is like 5% sodium, so very low. And you're just gonna put 2 tablespoons in there, just like that. I already measured that. Yeah, you want to make sure you measure everything. As you can see, I bought the tablespoons out and I bought the teaspoons out because in some of these cooking shows, they'll say a teaspoon of salt and they'll pour like a cup of salt. So we want to show you that we're actually practicing what we preach. We don't want you to kill yourself. You're also going to put a tablespoon of thyme. You can get the fresh kind, or you can just get the dried out version. This is a teaspoon, so I'm just going to put 3 because 3 equals 1 tablespoon. I don't know what my tablespoon is. 3. Beautiful. Oopsies. Alrighty. Here it is. And 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2. And then we're gonna squeeze 2 limes in there. I'm just gonna cut it up. I'm gonna squeeze it in there. There we go. So Jess,
What up?
what's up with your hair? I feel like every time I see you, you have a different hairstyle.
I do have a different hairstyle, and so do you. Every time I see you.
Okay.
I cut my hair. I just wanted a fresh look, and it was actually a little bit traumatic because I was on vacation and I went to the salon, and it was my bad because my hair was a hot mess. Like, it was all matted, and it was rough. But they tried to play me and charge me $140 detangling fee. And I was like, I don't think so. So she was like, oh, since you're a loyal customer.
Oh, God. No, she didn't throw that
Yeah,
out.
she did. And I had recommended 8 people to her, so she needs to stop playing. But anyway, she went through with it still, and yeah.
It's
the
really
hair's-
cute.
Thanks.
I love it.
I dyed it black, and I tried to do a red streak under here.
Oh,
But
that's so cute.
It's not showing out too much.
Oh. Did she bleach it?
So, no, I did this myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, Flo helped me.
Aw,
Shout out
that's
to
so
Flo.
cute. Hey, Flo.
That's our friend. Anyways, yeah, new hair.
I love it. Looks really good on you. Everything looks really good on you.
Gracias.
De nada. Okay, done and done. Beautiful. 2 limes in there, ready to blend. Vamos a cocinar. So here we have our marinade for the tofu. It smells delicious. Very, very rich in flavors. We're just gonna put our tofu in this bowl. You can just get any kind of deep bowl dish, whatever you got, and put it in there. And we're gonna pour marinade all over. Get it in there. Great. We didn't even need water. It was perfect. Just gonna marinate it. So we're gonna let that sit for about an hour. Jess, what it do?
So it do the sweet potato. What I did was, for this dish, I just peeled 4 kind of big sweet potatoes like this, and then cut them up into cubes like this. If you don't know how to do that, I suggest you YouTube that and then tune back in. So then I boiled the sweet potatoes until they were soft. You always just want to test them by sticking a fork and seeing if they mash up easily. You want them to still be a little bit chunky to add some more texture in there, so it doesn't have to be super like falling apart, but pretty soft. And so all you really do is mash them up like mashed potatoes. Okay, so I just went ahead and mashed this up. I want it to be a little chunky, so I'm not mashing it all the way. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add 1/3 of a cup of almond milk. Oh, and also, I remember you were saying that your collards had like 300% of your vitamin A. This has 735%.
Oh,
so take that.
Excuse me. You won't be going blind on this meal.
Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix all that in there. Then I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil.
That's a lot of vitamin A.
It is. Okay, so mix that up. And so normally you use like milk and cheese, but we're not doing that here because it's a vegan dish.
And actually, my collards also have some calcium. It has about 25% calcium just in 1 cup, so take that.
All right. So next, what I did was this is fresh cilantro. Smells really good. I took about half a cup of this, and I sauteed about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. If you don't love garlic like that, I would use a little bit less, maybe like 2 or 3. But we love it here, so we used a lot. And the juice of about 1 lime. Okay. Okay, so what I did is then put it in the blender, and you get this.
Yummy, and it smells so good.
It smells so good, and it's fresh. And then you're just gonna pour that all up in it. And then you just mix it all together. So it's like this really pretty color.
Wow, it smells amazing.
So we're just gonna top it off, like always, with a little bit of fresh ground black pepper. And then a little bit of salt. Again, pour it in your hand. So you make sure you don't add too much. And then mix it up. And that is donezo. Oh my god. So good. Wow. I just pulled the mac and cheese out of the oven, and it's going to put a little on her plate so you can see it better. So she put a little cilantro. I put oregano. You can put even more oregano. So I just finished plating both the sweet potato mash, alrighty, and the mac and cheese. And now Wendy's gonna go ahead and make them collards.
All right, I have everything set up. Collards, we wash them, we cut them up, which you can actually just do with your hands like that. It makes for easier preparation. You don't need a knife and all that, really easy. So here I have half of an onion chopped. I have about 2 cloves of garlic chopped. If you don't like that much garlic, just use 1 clove. I have about half a cup of chopped red peppers, red pepper flakes, and 1 chopped tomato. And I also have this veggie broth, which I made on my own. All you have to do is boil vegetables. You could do carrots, broccoli root, tomato. You just boil them up, and then you drain them, and you use that as the broth. It's really easy, and it's better than the store stuff because it doesn't have any preservatives, doesn't have any added salt. So this one is actually salt-free, made it on my own, yummy. So we're gonna use that as well. And I have a little bit of olive oil, if I didn't already mention that. And so most of our preparation is gonna be on the stove, so let's get to cooking. We're here at the stove. I'm just gonna pour 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a pot, just like that. And I heated the pot already just so that things are a little quicker. It's already nice and hot. Olive oil, it burns quickly, so you don't have to like wait till it's hot or anything. It'll heat up automatically. And so we have our half of onion, and we have our 2 cloves of garlic, which are already chopped. I'm just gonna throw them in there. And we're gonna add our red peppers that are chopped as well. Gonna add some more red with our red pepper flakes. Just gonna sprinkle them in there. Have that in there. And then we're gonna put our collards. It's really, really easy. We're gonna leave our tomatoes for last. I'll tell you when we get there. We're gonna do with those, and we're just gonna throw them in there. And with collards, when I go down south and I have them, usually they're really mushy and just like, they're too overcooked. And so we want to make sure that they are sauteed and that they aren't super rough, but we also want to make sure that they have their vitamins in there. We don't want to cook them all the way and kill them. So throw them in there. Throw them all in. They're going to start welting in a few minutes. And another thing that I forgot to mention is that when I talked about the vitamin A, that's actually 1 cup of cooked collards. And so, you know, a lot of times when they give you nutritional information about stuff, they give it to you in the raw form. So like, you know, a cup of raw collards has X amount of vitamin A. And usually when you cook it, it loses a lot of that. So in this instance, it has 308% of in its cooked form, which is a lot, especially for it to be cooked. It probably has even more. It definitely has even more in its raw state, just so you know. So you can already see it welting a few minutes in. And then the last thing we're going to do is pour our 3 cups of vegetable broth in there. Pour that in. la la. Just like that. It's already getting a bright color. Just gonna cover it. We have our marinated tofu that we let sit for an hour. I'm just dipping it into the marinade, dipping all the pieces. And I have here a cast iron grill that I've been heating up for about 5 minutes. If you don't have that, you can just do it on a skillet or, you know, whatever pan you have. The grill is good though, because it gives it those nice ridges and just looks better. So I'm just marinating it. I'm actually gonna add some thyme to it because it'll make it kind of crispy on the outside. Just add some thyme, like that, and we're gonna put it on. Beautiful. That, and we have all this marinade that we're just gonna put on there. It's been about 5 minutes. We have a medium flame. We're gonna flip it over, see how we're doing on the other side. Start with that buddy over here. Whoa, look at that beautiful color. That's why I like using a cast iron grill, because you get all the ridges and it just looks so pretty. Alrighty, we're just gonna bring this over here. And so here we have our jerk tofu. And grilled. Ooh, the smoke is killing me. Just gonna lay it there. Look at how beautiful that looks. Love it. Nice and brown. Just gonna set that there. You can really smell all the strong spices in there.
Here we are with our finished product, and we can't wait to go in. Just to reiterate, I made the mac and cheese, but I used butternut squash as opposed to a lot of cheese and whole wheat pasta. I also made the mashed sweet potato with garlic, lime, and cilantro. We didn't sacrifice any of the flavor here. This is all traditional soul food that was made really healthy. So not only is it good for your soul, but it's good for your heart. It'll keep your heart beating because it has good ingredients.
And here we have what I made, which are our yummy collards. I topped it with a little bit of oregano just to make it look pretty. Don't have to eat it. And our jerk tofu. So that is that. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting. This is Food Heaven Made Easy with Wendy and Jess, and you can always log on to our website where we'll post all of our recipes so that you can do them step by step. It'll be way clearer on the website if you want to try this at home, which I'm sure you will because everything came out delicious.